Hey, Geekscapists, welcome to a brand new Geekscape podcast. I'm Jonathan London, your host, and if this is your first Geekscape, strap yourselves in for some pop culture talk. Movies, video games, comic books, TV, all that stuff is what we usually talk about on Geekscape. We just got back fresh from San Diego Comic-Con. The whole Geekscape booth was there. The whole Geekscape team was there at the Geekscape booth. That's what I meant to say. And it was a pretty awesome week. Tons of revelations coming out of Hall H. And something else was going on that week. Is a big one. Deadpool versus, I want to say Deadpool versus Wolverine. Well, half this movie is Deadpool versus Wolverine, but Deadpool and Wolverine, the third Deadpool movie, hit theaters. And this is the one that was supposed to bring the MCU back. A lot of fans were like, it's back, baby. Is it back? I've got Ian Kerner and Christian Blatt here to talk to me about whether or not the MCU is back. Did Deadpool and Wolverine, which made like $200 million domestically in its first weekend release, like it's huge. We're going to be talking about whether or not it's back. The MCU is back. We're going to be talking about whether or not what happens in this movie. What does it mean for maybe upcoming X films? The brand newly announced, relabeled King Dynasty into Avengers Doomsday. We'll talk a little bit about that. Maybe what it means for the upcoming Captain America New World Order we get in January, February. We've got the Thunderbolts. They made an appearance at San Diego Comic-Con. Some Fantastic Four. There's a lot of MCU going on, and Deadpool and Wolverine is the one that's supposed to reset the board. Be like, hey, guys, forget about some of the shakiness you might have felt as fans towards the MCU. It's back now. Well, Geekscape's back with this episode. I hope you've enjoyed the last couple. I loved having Jim Kruger on an episode or so ago. I loved having episode 700, which was pretty unhinged. Episode 700 was pretty much me and some of the Geekscape crew just reminiscing on Comic-Con's past and how freaking unhinged some of that stuff was. After that recording, I kind of looked back and said, wow, when you hear everything that we've been through the last almost 20 years all in one place, it's insane. But that's Geekscape. And this is as well. We got Ian and Christian here to talk Deadpool and Wolverine. We are going to spoil it a lot. So if you have not seen this movie, don't watch this. Come back later after you've seen it. Maybe you're watching on Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube. Maybe you're watching it on LinkedIn. But don't be watching this if you haven't seen the movie. If you're listening to this on the podcast app, go ahead and listen to another episode and then come back after you've seen the Deadpool and the Wolverine. And yeah, we got a Comic-Con special coming up pretty soon as well. So there's lots of Geekscape down the pipe. I'm also having a daughter, probably this week. So I don't know when you're going to get your Comic-Con special, but I have all the audio. I'm ready to put it together. A lot of stuff going on right now in the geek sphere of Geekscape. Also, if you're listening to this, we announced a comic book at San Diego Comic-Con. I wrote it. Geekscape's producing it. Hero of the Prophecy. It's the Paul London Hero of the Prophecy comic based on the idea my brother and I had about him getting transported to an alien world, having to fight sword and sorcery fantasy monsters to free a kingdom from an alien, like an evil wizard. Pro wrestler. He gets galaxy quested, right? They see wrestling and they're like, oh, look how he fights all those people in the arena. It's a wrestling ring. Let's transport him here to be our champion. And he gets there and he says, you idiots, it's fake. And now he's got to figure things out. So it's a little bit of Big Trouble in Little China, a little bit of Army of Darkness, a whole lot of wrestling, a whole lot of fantasy. And I think it's a really fun series, and I'm blown away by how it's coming out. We got a Kickstarter coming in the next couple of weeks, but you can already join the Kickstarter pre-campaign at hearoftheprophecy.com. This is not the first you will hear of it. This is not the last you'll hear of it. I hope it's not the first you've heard of it because we've been working on it a while. But we can now announce it. Let's get some Deadpool and Wolverine going. My brain is in a million places right now because of the baby. But let's go. Let me remember how to do the Geekscape thing. Okay, I click on that button. I go to this button. Oh yeah, this one. Hey, Geekscape concurrently with this Deadpool and Wolverine special. We got a little text thread going on because right before we started, Christian Black goes, "Whoa, did you feel the earthquake?" And then people in LA, that's what they do. They say, "Whoa, what about the earthquake?" And I'm on this thread with Ian, hilarious Ian, and Christian, also very funny. And they're supposed to be at Geekscape. They're supposed to be doing the Geekscape, but they're multitasking, and they're also in the text thread talking about the earthquake and the ridiculous possible causes for the earthquake. But let's talk about the MCU quake and whether or not Marvel Jesus, the Messiah, did show up to save the MCU from what fans thought was a dip in quality, a dip in direction. And maybe we'll talk a little bit about the Hall H stuff that feels like a realignment to what the MCU was doing before that worked so well because we love Endgame, we love all that stuff. We love those movies. Not that we don't love the stuff that came since. Some of that stuff we really do love. But it feels like at San Diego Comic-Con there was a conscious effort by Marvel, especially in Hall H, to say, "Hey, whoa, hey, we're focused now. We're going back to clicking on all cylinders here." Here to discuss that and more, especially Deadpool and Wolverine, is my good friends Ian and Justin and Christian. I almost said Justin, who's in that thread. Oh boy, guys, I would like to say my brain's not working, but when is it ever? It's just the way it is.
That's a good point.
I'd like to blame the impending childbirth, but nah. This
it's okay. You're going to be able to catch up on your sleep and refresh. Don't worry about it, Jonathan. You'll be fine.
Guys, once the baby comes, you get to sleep plenty.
When do I sleep? When do I sleep? You guys, you guys know me as the guy who wakes up at 4 a.m. and I'm like, wait, when does Starbucks open? 5? Okay, I'll get there early and help the ladies with their tables, which I may have done today. But I like it, and I set out this press release for the Hear the Prophecy, and Comic-Con seemed to have gone well. I hope a lot of people came by. I know Ian came by because I got a text and said it's weird not having you here at San Diego, and I know Christian came by because he helped bring some of the booth supplies back to LA. But that was fun. It was kind of fun going down there for 24, 48 hours and then coming right back and getting ready to watch the Deadpool and the Wolverine, a movie that we were all anticipating, and now we saw it. We all saw the movie before the Hall H stuff hit. So where do you guys want to start with this? Because Ian saw the movie at a press preview on Monday night, like a premiere, LA premiere on Monday night, and then we went down to Comic-Con and we came back. I watched it on Thursday. I believe Christian saw it on Thursday.
The best was you thought me not saying anything meant I didn't like it.
No, I actually what I was reading, and guys, maybe this is a great jumping off point for the conversation, is I people are coming out of the press preview that you went to, Ian. These are press friends of mine, and they were like, "You got to go see it. It's amazing." But then I started seeing like the non-geek press, like the Entertainment Weekly. Maybe it was Entertainment Weekly. I don't want to misquote them, but they were saying that this movie, in a similar fashion to Thor: Love and Thunder or Quantumania, starts to substitute plot and weight, character, and that kind of stuff for just incessant jokes. And from the trailers, I was like, "Oh, these trailers are hilarious!" And I see that it's going to be full of in jokes, but like. And so I was braced. I was braced for a movie that I was not going to enjoy.
Say exactly that he didn't like it because he thought it was just reference.
Who said that?
A colleague of mine who just
so I was expecting to like this movie for the first 30 minutes and then be like, hey, this is just the same like stupid callbacks over and over. I loved this movie. I did not think it substituted weight. I thought it had character pathos for both Wade Wilson and for Logan. I thought the movie was so much fun. And yes, the callbacks, the cameos, all the stuff it promised were amazing. And there are a lot of times in this movie I yelled out, holy shit, I cannot believe they did this from the get-go. When Deadpool starts fighting with Logan's adamantium skeleton, and it is so completely unhinged, you knew that anything goes in this movie, and then they're not going to keep anything sacred. And I loved it. I loved that it was a completely unapologetic comic book movie from the string of Wolverines, just doing fan service. Like, this is what Logan would have looked like if he was the size that he was in the comics. It would have been ridiculous. This is if you want the Henry Cavill casting. This is Age of Apocalypse Wolverine. Here's Patch. Here's the one that was my favorite. You got to get the Silvestri up on the X Wolverine. I mean,
251.
It was so good. And just the amount of fan service, the amount of love that they were putting into the Wolverine stuff and the Deadpool stuff and just the MCU or just the Marvel history. I really loved that. I thought it was wonderful. And it just felt like they did not care about Hollywood, even though they did. It just felt like the comic book movie. It was going to be about the comics. It was going to be about the history of these characters. And it was going to have fun with it. And then it just starts trying to get a multiverse a go-go about, I mean, I'm getting ahead of it, but I think the things that surprised me early in the movie, besides how unhinged that sequence is with the Logan skeleton, because it's like, okay, nothing's sacred. Let's go. This is going to be hilarious. And it was. And were things like, okay, let's reset Wade Wilson and what he wants, which is to matter. And it was surprising to me that he and Vanessa weren't together after the time jumping of saving her life in Deadpool 2. It was surprising to me that he, hadn't fallen into a new X-Force or anything, that he's still trying to get things going. And I thought that the scene with Happy Hogan, where he's applying to become an Avenger, it had some weird stuff in it, but I loved that scene because right there you've got the character and you've got Peter in the Happy Hogan scene. What my question is, like, is he talking about Tony or is he talking about Nick Fury?
Talking about Tony.
But he should know that Tony's not there anymore.
The Tony's what?
Where's Tony? Tony's dead.
2018.
Not in that time.
It was in 2018.
Yeah,
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So here's the thing. So first, let me say I love the movie, but I have some quibbles. Okay. So the first one, all right, it opens up with an amazing fight scene, but then it moves back in time. They say it's 6 years ago. It's 2018.
Oh, there you go.
616, the sacred timeline. So he's not on Earth 10005. He's not on his Earth.
He jumped into his other Earth. To join
and they don't
Avengers,
explain how. Now, what I've heard suggested is he's wearing the watch from Deadpool 2. And the suggestion that I've heard out there that probably in an edit, they actually say that the watch can also make him jump universes. But if that's the case, then why doesn't he use the watch later? So it's really unclear because to me, that's a glaring hole.
And they don't take the watch from him? I thought that the TVA took.
I think they would have. So maybe they took it. So again,
I thought the TVA
so in an edit, they must have explained that the watch enables them to jump universes.
Sure.
Now, along with that, the other problem is, why would he even know about the Avengers unless he's been actively jumping universes and has learned about the Avengers and is? I mean, like, if he's been to this TVA already, he knows about the sacred timeline.
How's he going to know? How's he going to know about Hugh Jackman's divorce? So you're already asking the wrong. You're asking the wrong questions because he knows about the Avengers because we know about the Avengers.
Right. So, it's Deadpool's meta ability to just see through the page. But you and I agree, and that's what I was going to say is you have similar issues in the first two movies. It's you just got to go with it. Because it's Deadpool and that's what it is. I mean, it bothers me a little more when other people on 10005, they know about the Avengers. I don't have a problem with Wolverine know about the Avengers because maybe on his Earth they exist.
Fair.
Yeah.
But they shouldn't be on 10005, right?
No, I mean, I think you're right. I don't want to brush past the opening sequence of this movie because it is so crazy. It's so great. It is like pretty much everything we want. He does the Hugh Jackman impression, not the Logan impression. He does Hugh Jackman's Australian voice. And instantly, I knew I made the right decision when I decided the fact that despite the fact that this movie came out on my son's 9th birthday, I knew I wasn't taking him to see it. And 3 minutes in, I was like, yep, I made the right call. I do know people who brought their kids. I won't name any names. Some of them are a little older. Some of them are not.
I'm still struggling with my 14-year-old stepson seeing the first one.
Right.
Oh, the pegging scenes? Yeah.
I mean, there's some raunch in there, but, I mean, I'm fine with it. But my wife is,
I talk about
at 14.
Yeah, are you kidding?
Well, to make the point though, to some people, are surprised that I saw RoboCop in theaters when I was 11. RoboCop,
so did I.
The theatrical version of RoboCop has nothing on that opening scene.
No.
So
it's just bloody and they're blowing his hand off and stuff. Big deal. I know they talked about an X rating at the time. It wasn't that big a deal.
I like the
I've seen the X rating. The X rating's the Criterion version. It's just more gruesome, but the film's like a minute longer.
Yeah.
It's not really that different. Yeah.
Not that.
But anyway, so this was just like, okay, I think they established it early. I think that was for anybody sitting in to, maybe a press screening or whatever, who's like, all right, well, it's going to be a Disney Deadpool. He's not going to really deliver what we've expected. And they wanted to make sure. And they did love the running gag that the one thing they couldn't talk about was cocaine and just how often they talked about cocaine.
Yeah. It's hysterical.
But yeah, I do think that when you deal with a character who, because of their fourth wall breaking, is omniscient, it's hard to really wonder about any of these things. They could have done a better job explaining some of those things. I was surprised that what was Peter Serafinovic's character's name, the main guy from the TVA who was running the operation? Can't remember.
Yeah, Paradox.
Thank you.
Mr. Paradox.
When Mr. Paradox is like, yeah, we don't even care about the watch. I was like, oh, that's curious. You'd think that's exactly the sort of thing they would care about.
Because when they came to his door to abduct him, they said the number of violations he had committed. And I assumed that those violations were multiversal violations. They weren't just time jumps within his timeline. I did know that when it said the 616 universe, that he'd jumped over to the one that Happy Hogan and the Avengers were in. Ian, I want you to explain who Mr. Paradox is from the comics, if he's a comic.
Before we get into that, here's my thing: is a time travel paradox theoretically is a multiversal paradox.
Yeah, because you're creating branching timelines.
Exactly. So that's
first Avengers movie, or the
right. So does the argument become then that by nature any time travel is jumping universes, and therefore the watch clearly can do that?
Yeah. I just assumed it, especially when they said that how many violations he'd committed when they come to his door on the birthday scene. I was like, okay, cool. Like he had been doing this for a while. He'd been effing stuff up across the multiverse, and the TVA was going to get an intent. It was going to get the TVA's attention. So even in the trailer when I first saw it, I was like, oh yeah, that watch from Deadpool 2 was causing some problems, and it had to. If you watch Back to the Future, it's creating alternate timelines in alternate universes. You're good. This stuff. And I think it's hilarious that they use Huey Lewis for the alternate Wolverine scene the plot Geeks gave us, and you should have seen the damn movie, is that there should have, can you not hear us, Ian?
You're back.
Okay. Because the plot is that Deadpool's timeline is dying because the events of Logan, and that Logan died, and he's an anchor point. He's an anchor character that saves that timeline, and removing him in Logan causes it to die. So now Wade has to go to alternate Earths, the multiverse, and get another Logan. He picks the worst one, but the sequence where he's trying to recruit different Logans, and you see Old Man Logan, you see the amazing one from where he's wearing the classic uniform, and he's like, wait, you're fighting the Hulk in this scene, and then the Hulk shows up in the claws, and you get that amazing McFarlane artwork homage. That was awesome. That was, this whole sequence,
I can't tell which is my favorite. That's
I can tell you my favorite is
but they're playing Huey Lewis in the News because it's a Back to the Future callback. It's awesome. Wait, who was your favorite?
I can say what my favorite is because you can see it if you're watching the video version, is getting the crucified Wolverine from 251.
Yeah,
and I thought that to recreate that was great. If I have to pick a second, though, it's Age of Apocalypse. He just starts beating him with the adamantium stump. And
Patch is awesome.
Patch was great. Awesome. I loved seeing Patch.
Correct height Wolverine. I laughed hysterically.
Yep. That's what you get. You want to get fans? That's what you're gonna get. And the Cavill stuff was fun.
Cavill was very funny
because the Henry Cavill that was like a legit fan request, was the Henry Cavill as Wolverine, and they were like, okay, fine, this is what you get. It's like John Straczynski. It's like, here, this is what you guys want. Or Krasinski. It's like, this is what you want. Here, we'll give it to you. We're not going to keep it, but this is what you get.
And we'll treat you better than those guys down the street. I thought
that was great.
Nice line.
Yeah,
it's funny.
It wasn't quite guys. I liked how he put it better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I thought, I thought all that stuff was fun, and that's when you knew, like, okay, this is going to be very fan servicey. This is going to be kind of what they get excited about. And Deadpool acknowledging, like, get ready, nerds. You're about to love this part, and a few of those. I think if there had been a couple more, it might have annoyed me, but they did use it at the right moments where he told us, to get ready for your nerd boner.
And listen, and this is the struggle, because I can appreciate, I was even thinking about this movie for my stepson, even eventually, I'm like, he's seen all the Marvel movies, but, he hasn't seen all the Marvel Fox movies. And you can't appreciate, this movie is a love letter to the Marvel Fox in much the same way that the Sony Spider-Man movies got a love letter in No Way Home, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's acknowledging that history in a great way for all of us that were there for all those movies,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not going to appreciate it if you don't know that history.
It's still a good story. I thought it was still a fun story.
I love this movie, but I can appreciate my criticisms would be that if you come in cold, don't know all that, it's not going to have those emotional undertones for you. And at the end of the day, I went into it hoping for a hint of what's coming with X-Men, whatever else. Yes, at the end, they're still around, so you can use them again. But not much about this movie really informed what's coming next. Maybe we see Paradox again, in the TVA, but maybe we don't, And
is Paradox a character from the comics, Ian?
Yeah. So in the comics, the TVA, it's like everyone is Mobius, and he's like a future Mobius.
Okay. Wait, everybody's literally the character of Mobius.
They're all variants of Mobius, all the TVAs. People.
Okay, even B-15.
Ouroboros, they're all another Mobius.
Okay,
which we've seen versions of that before,
Yeah, we've seen multiple Mobiuses, at least in Loki. I was surprised Loki didn't show up. It would have been
I was too, but did we need it? Because he's God Loki. Do we need God?
And now we have.
Did God need to step in when B-15 is able to deal with it?
B-15 was great. Paradox, I thought was awesome. I knew that was a comic book character, but wanted my guy Ian to explain it. And then you have the Void sequence where right off the bat they're going to be fighting in front of this 20th Century Fox logo, and when Johnny Storm shows up and there's just that hint of blue under his uniform or his costume, and Deadpool thinks that it's Captain America, and these villains are in for it now. And it's a fake out. We all know it's a fake
but
out.
Also, what Evans does, you notice, his accent's different.
Yeah.
Like he does. He's a really good actor, like he plays him very differently.
And you're waiting for him to say the line. That was a great moment.
Yeah.
Wade expects him to say Adventures Assemble, and no, he's going to say Flame On.
Ian wanted him to say Flame On, so Ian
all did. We all wanted him to say Flame On. We all wanted to see Johnny Storm because it had been so long, and we knew Evans had talked about not wanting to play Cap again, and that's behind him, and Cap had a great ending to that character in Endgame, and oh my God, we got Johnny Storm, and I loved it because I love Chris Evans as Johnny Storm, regardless of what you think of the Tim Story movies. Yeah, it was great casting for Johnny Storm. It was good to see him again. It was great to see Pyro again. It was great to see
how funny is the tag, because you're absolutely positive that Deadpool is lying.
Oh, I loved the tag. But I mean, the one thing I have about the tag is at no point is that Johnny Storm at any point. Now that's Chris Evans doing a Boston accent, just being Chris Evans. He might as well put a Dunkin' Donut cup in his hand. He's like straight up just doing the Bostonian accent at that point, be like, motherfucker. I was like, okay, all right, it was a funny tag.
Yes,
I'm not going to count that as canon because that's straight up just Chris Evans.
I mean, I just thought, because you're so absolutely positive Deadpool's lying and throwing him under the bus, and then literally here's footage of him actually saying exactly all the things Deadpool says he said.
The tag is great. And I'm sorry that you didn't get to see Beast again or some form of an X-Men hint. I don't think we needed it. We're going to get it.
I agree. It's fine.
How many of these movies are going to give us a Beast tag? All right. They already did that. So we didn't need another one.
And by the way, I mean, among the in jokes is that, he has to play Wolverine till he's 90 now. Yeah. Because, I mean, we'll see. But I'm hearing rumors that he's definitely, listen, I think he's definitely going to be, definitely. I think we're going to see him and Toby together in Secret War. We're getting. Yeah, we're getting, we're getting Jackman again, at least for that.
Okay.
I'm
fine with that.
Do you think we're going to get Robert Downey Jr. back for Secret War? Maybe.
I think Robert Downey Jr. is going to be in the movie. Yeah.
In Secret War. Are we going to get him back as Tony in Secret War?
Well, that's the question.
And guys, we haven't even talked about the Doctor Doom at all. I think y'all know my opinion is that I think he's a Doom variant. A lot of people are saying he's a Doom variant, and he's not maybe the true Doom. He's the Bendis Doom.
No. Well, true Doom. He is Doctor Doom as far as they're concerned.
Right.
Whether I think my understanding is he's going to be Victor, but doesn't mean he isn't. So the big question is this: does that mean he's a variant, or is it like Chris Evans as the Human Torch and Chris Evans as Captain America, and just whatever? Sometimes people look the same. That's the question.
Ian, you have,
and I'm not sure which is better.
You have spies all over Hollywood, Ian. Did they just take the Kang Dynasty scripts and turn it into the Doomsday script with the variants and all that stuff?
That's what I think.
Did they just? Because they were like 2 years down the road on the production.
I think they moved that. Listen, here's the thing. I had been hearing before Kang was even out that it was going to be Doom in Secret War, just like in the comics, right?
Of course.
Doom was superseded. I think they just moved that idea of that storyline up, but more or less, I think that I think that script is still going to be a multiverse movie.
Because of the Dynasty stuff and what it did to all the movies that branch off.
Here's the thing, and we've already seen with Fantastic Four that it's clearly not Earth 616. And we've already established at the end of the Marvels that the X-Men, presumably, it's not going to be different X-Men. The X-Men we saw at the end of Marvels, those are the X-Men with that beast.
Right. And Ian, you were in the room when they had the Fantastic Four trailer play.
No, I wasn't. So
but you've seen it. I've seen it.
I haven't seen it.
No, a lot of it was taken down, but you can see some stills from it.
Stills, guys. I watched the whole video.
No, it was there, but I don't know if you tried to find it. I don't know if you tried to find it today because I couldn't find it today.
That was Brad Bird, incredible style beauty. I thought it was so wonderful, and it was so fun, and it felt like what I thought Peyton Reed would have done if he had done this movie after Goodbye Love or whatever what that movie was. Remember when Peyton Reed was going to do Fantastic Four? It really felt fun, and it felt like the kind of whimsical, hip 1961 Fantastic Four you're going to want. Sleek stuff like the future, it's like the world of tomorrow type sleek technology.
Right,
was really cool. And the humor of seeing not just the stuff within the immediate superhero world of the Fantastic Four, but seeing the Thing on a dating game, like I pick Bachelor number 3, and when it pans over, the contestant doesn't know that there's a giant silhouette of the Thing sitting as contestant number 3, and just the fun that they're having with the time period was great. At no point in the levity of the teaser do they ever show something like a threat, like a Galactus or a Herald. Right. Or anything.
My understanding is you see Galactus's reflection in one of the buildings. So
I thought it was such a cool teaser, and if you can find it, go find it. I hope it's released in the next couple weeks.
It's up. I can find it, but the
it
point
was so much fun.
The point is that it's clearly not Earth 616.
No, but we knew that when Multiverse of Madness said when Strange said, "Is that the team that went missing back in the '60s?" When they were talking about the Fantastic Four.
That's never been clear if that's what he's saying.
I
took that line to be like, oh, they sound like something from the 60s. It's never been clear.
I just wanted to circle back for a second on Kang. Yeah, go for it. The switch to Doom for the behind the scenes reasons is hugely disappointing from a storytelling standpoint. I don't believe that this movie is going to be what Kang Dynasty was going to be. Now, they may make that movie one day. I don't know why they didn't just recast Jonathan Majors. The easiest thing to explain is this guy who's a variant. Oh yeah, he also looks like this. But
absolutely,
Doom is a great villain. He's a better character. But when you're like, oh, we got to raise the stakes from Thanos. What does that? Dr. Doom? No. Kang does. Kang is a way bigger threat than Thanos. Dr. Doom is like, I think I've read a comic where Spider-Man alone beat up Dr. Doom. It's fine. I'm not that intimidated by Doom. I don't care.
Wait, are you for real?
Compared to Kang?
Yes.
Yes.
Doom does everything that Kang does, but with thought. Like Doom goes back to the very beginning with the Molecule Man and resets everything, which is something that beyond what Kang does. Kang does it and tries to zap him with a laser gun, but Doom pulls the Molecule Man back and says, I'm going to use your powers to rebuild everything, which is not what Kang does. Kang goes and just tries to remove people from the timeline to hope that the butterfly effect makes him a leader at the end. Doom goes back with someone who can change molecules and forces it to happen.
The problem is
Doom is greater. Doom is the ultimate.
Well, no, here's the thing. The problem is that Kang sort of from the get-go is so powerful, whereas Doom, we see him get there. But he wasn't always that way for so much of the history. Listen, I'm fine either way. My big issue is I agree. If they're going to do the same story, they should have just recast. If they took the Jonathan Majors issues and realized, well, this multiverse thing is burnt out, we got to pivot and go a different way with it, then great. But simply by the fact that the next movie is Secret Wars sort of tells me that they're still doing incursions in the multiverse.
Yeah. And maybe we do see Kang again. I mean, Scott Lang pummeling Kang probably wasn't the end of that villain. Yeah. Maybe they're just taking a breather. We'll reintroduce Kang in the same way I have hopes of a reintroduction of Ultron later down the line. That's maybe closer to what we got in the animated stuff, which I thought was a great Ultron. And I met one of the writer directors at the one brief time that I was at Comic-Con last week. I met one of the writer directors of What If, and I told him, I was like, that Ultron is phenomenal. I have to have you on the show, and I'll send him an email here in a bit. But I loved he had all the artwork from What If out and some of the stuff he'd done for Brad Bird and Iron Giant and things. I'm blanking on his name, but I'm gonna have him on the show because I love the What If stuff and I love the What If Ultron. That is the Ultron that we want in the MCU. It's good stuff.
Just something that I see in the chat from Ivan Soto, who's one of the regulars in my chat over on Marvel Movie Talk, which we did an emergency episode this morning talking just about Hall H. Yeah, no, Matt Kelly made me realize that, let's not combine it with our Deadpool talk. But we were talking about it. And so what Ivan's saying right now, the Kang storyline wasn't working before the Majors drama. And I don't know that I necessarily agree, but the perception that it wasn't working sort of informs some of the dialogue in Deadpool and Wolverine, I think. Deadpool telling us like, man, multiverse isn't working,
Yes. Marvel's going through tough times. Look, the bottom line is, unfortunately, as comic readers,
$1 billion, not short of $1 trillion stuff.
But as comic readers, we're used to certain concepts coming up a lot, but with movies, unfortunately, you go to that well a couple times, it feels like the same movie. Oh, it's the multiverse again, it just feels like, and then obviously having it elsewhere, I think that's the big problem. And I think it's still a problem. Fortunately, there's going to be several Marvel movies before we get multiverse again.
Yes.
Right. Again,
but we're getting those movies. We're getting the Thunderbolts.
Fantastic Four is in an alternate, it's multiverse. It's an alternate universe, but it's probably not going to be dealing with other universes. It's just going to be, that's this Earth that they're on. But people should understand that, where this is going is they're all going to come together. Yeah. That's where it's going. And presumably, and afterwards, my expectation is, so the big question is this: are we going to get an X-Men movie before Secret War?
I don't see why.
I don't think so.
I think the Fantastic Four are going to carry the torch for a bit. I think we're going to get some version of the Thunderbolts and Captain America.
Well, you say they're going to carry the torch. We're probably only getting one Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah, but I mean, dude, 2027 is right there.
Well, sure, but so the question
is, Secret War is 2027, correct? And
correct.
Doomsday is 2026.
Yeah, Doomsday is 26. Yeah,
you're going to blink, and these movies are going to be on top of you. And you're also forgetting. You're also forgetting Agatha Harkness. How many Agatha Harknesses?
I'm trying to.
It was Ian all along.
Good? Big question is going to be: are the FFN do more?
Wait, say that again.
Doomsday, excuse me.
Yeah, I think the Fantastic Four are in Doomsday. Because we're going to get the Fantastic Four movie before Doomsday. The movie's been in heavy production.
And are we going to get Doom and Fantastic Four?
Let's go. In Doomsday, I think the Fantastic Four.
I think
the
he has to at
solution
least
for
cameo.
Doomsday.
I think he has to at least cameo.
I
Oh,
think it's
Doom
a
in
cameo.
Fantastic Four. Yes,
Yeah, I think it'll be a
I see
cameo.
Doom at the end of Fantastic Four, and maybe as a part of a solution for Galactus, or as part of him coming, whatever. And then I think the solution for Doomsday is some version of Reed Richards' concocted solution, and then Doom cannot have that, so he goes back, maybe the Molecule Man, maybe something else, and he creates the Secret War to erase Reed. And now we got to get Reed back in the same way that we had the Hickman run, which was a Reedless Marvel universe that was in control by Victor. And that's no offense to the toy line in the 80s, but that Hickman Fantastic Four as a blueprint for what we might get on the screen is just beautiful. I love the Ivan Ribic artwork. That is my favorite Doom, because when he removes his mask, that's just one of the most romantic moments in that whole series, is seeing the extent to which he's scarred, and somebody who can recreate the reality in all that, in all the ways he can, with the help of the Molecule Man. Again, we have a Doom who still hasn't corrected his face. He still hasn't corrected his scars, and still uses them as a way to manipulate Susan and get her to feel for him, because he can't have her remember that Reed existed. I love it. And then it has the best line of any in my opinion, of a Reed Doom matchup, where he says, "Reed, you always thought you were better than me." And he says, "No, Victor, I always thought you were better than this." And I'm like, that gets to the heart of their relationship. It's awesome. And I want that on screen. I usually don't want a lot of stuff on screen when I go into a movie. I usually just let the movie be the movie. I want that on screen.
So, and that begs the question is, are we going to get their history?
The Fantastic Four or Reed and Victor?
Reed and Doom, yeah.
Reed and Robert Downey Jr.?
Well, Reed and Victor, yeah.
They just take the footage from Back to School.
Are we going to get that? I don't know the answer. Are we getting we're not getting an origin story?
Replace Rodney Dangerfield with Reed. Use the footage from Back to School. Make that the college. I'm being stupid. I think we are in the same way that we slowly get eked out some of the history from Peter Parker in Homecoming and stuff like that. Like how in the watch the teaser, Ian, and let me know what you think, because we see Reed very much teaching a college class. He's being a college professor / scientist in the Fantastic Four, and I think it's really cool. But he's like tenured at that point, or he's giving a lecture in the teaser. So we've definitely skipped over any kind of origin. He's definitely not at a science fair. Sorry, Fox. Like, he's definitely not at a science fair early on. We're not getting that stuff. We're getting the Fantastic Four as working professionals and celebrities, and it's pretty cool. Ivan Soto says, "Are you glad they're not doing an origin story of the Fantastic Four, just like Spider-Man?" I think that's what they're going to do, is like a Homecoming style origin. And Jason Elliott nailed it. The Fantastic Four will appear in both Avengers movies. I don't know what he knows that we don't know. Maybe Jason Elliott. Maybe he's the Molecule Man.
I mean, listen, I expect so. I certainly hope so.
Yeah, agreed.
But that is the question,
And guys, justify the Robert Downey Jr. casting for me, because I was critical of it. I was like, wait a minute, guys. It felt to me like a studio bringing back the Russos, bringing back Robert Downey Jr. They're appeasing the fans of 5 years ago.
I had heard this months ago.
Yeah,
and in fact, this had leaked, and someone I know it leaked with maybe a less established reporter, and an established reporter that I know reached out, and Marvel straight up denied it.
The Robert Downey Jr. one. And Ivan Soto just cleared up. He said in the teaser, it's Reed hosting a science show for kids from what the director said. I think that's cool.
That is cool.
And Sean Becker, who's a phenomenal director in of his own right. Hi, Sean. He says, "Back to school." I will put a Back to School shout out in every episode if you let me. I'm sorry. Continue, Ian. They denied it. Why would they deny it? I mean, obviously
because they didn't want it out there, but they straight up denied it, which they don't usually deny to reputable sources when they come to them. They try to work with them. So it's it's an interesting thing. We'll see how that plays out. But yeah, so
explain to me again how this is supposed to work, guys, with the Robert Downey Jr. and the Tony and the.
Well, it depends. It depends what they're doing. Listen,
what's Infamous Iron Man? What was Infamous Iron Man?
Back up. There's
We're not talking about Deadpool Wolverine.
Infamous Iron Man. Victor actually took over as Iron Man.
Okay. The same way that Superior
it's not
Spider-Man
really
is
relevant.
Auto. Right.
Yeah,
okay.
It's not really relevant.
All right.
It's simple. It's one of two things. Either it's just the same way Chris Evans could be Johnny Storm and Chris Evans could be Captain America. Robert Downey Jr., he could just happen to look like Tony Stark, but be a completely different person in a different universe. It could be that, or it could be, in another universe, maybe Tony Stark's, go back a couple generations. They're from Latveria, and in this universe, they didn't move. I mean, we don't know.
Yeah, Ivan says, I wanted a new actor for Doom, so I hope he's just temporary. I still love Downey, of course. Yeah, I'm thinking a little bit of a Mandarin fake out.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well,
but who knows? Yeah.
I don't think so.
To answer your earlier question, when this news broke and we were at the Geekscape booth downstairs, I was just like, the whole thing just screams of desperation. A studio that feels like it hasn't been going the way they wanted to. They had an opportunity to make a change. And I agree with Ivan Soto. I love Robert Downey Jr. I think he'll be great. It's just very uninspired, lazy, and disappointing. I
was very critical. The reason I peeled back my criticism is back in 1999, I believe, when the leaked costumes for the X-Men, Singer's X-Men came out, I was so critical of them. Everybody wanted the red and blue, or the yellow and blue. Everybody wanted that stuff. Or, oh my God, the dark leather. What is this? The black leather. And then the movie came out, and I thought it was awesome. The writing was awesome. And there were a lot of places, going back to Deadpool Wolverine, where this thing could have gone off the rails and done just too much of the humor, too much of the self-reference, too much of this in lieu of plot. And I'm going to wait and see for this Robert Downey Jr. Dr. Doom stuff. I hope it's beautiful. I hope it's romantic. I hope it's everything that I would want Doom to be, because I think Dr. Doom should be Shakespearean on some level. He should just be a romantic villain. He should just be like full of pathos. And I know Downey can do it. But
here's the thing.
There's already a Downey in the universe. Yeah.
And I can't imagine they're going to ignore that he looks like Tony Stark. I think there's going to be an emotional component to that,
Yeah.
But
I think he's Howard.
But my gut is, are they really just transferring over the? I feel like what they might be doing is just taking the pathos of what you would have gotten with a Hydra Cap, you know, which and Hydra Cap, the way that turned out, and you using the Cosmic Cube. I thought the more interesting way of doing it would have been to just be a multiversal variant, you know. But
and then you reveal Cillian Murphy as the actual Dr. Doom.
I don't think so. I don't think that's what they're going to do.
Okay, Seth Green.
I'm up for either one.
Howard the Duck. Seth Green's playing Howard the Duck.
You're right. Can't have two actors playing. Can't have one actor playing the same role in the movie, in two roles in the Marvel universe.
Look, he's going to bring a very specific presence to the role. He's going to bring gravity to the role, and I like I said, for not even a second do I think it won't be good. I just was disappointed by it, and I want to see it. I want it to be good. I want it to be great. I want everything to be great, despite what people think.
I always do, guys. When we sit down for Craven, I want it to be fucking great.
You're not going to believe how great.
Let's lower our expectations.
You stay out of this, Ian. You didn't go with me to see Madame Web. And
I did not.
It was badass if you own stock in Pepsi. Also, maybe not if you own stock in Pepsi.
Pepsi actually wanted to have them do CGI replacement of all their product placement. But can we pay you to put RC Cola in here, please?
I've just tricked Ian into being part of a Madame Web episode. And the fact that the last fight sequence in Madame Web is in front of a giant Pepsi sign, unironically, unlike the Fox 20th Century in this one, like that was irony in this one. No. And it was part of the void, but it was not in Madame Web. Have you seen Madame Web yet, Ian?
I have not.
It's on Netflix.
Come on, man. Why don't you not send us 20 minutes worth of memes and take those 20 minutes, stitch them all together?
You really want me to watch Madame Web? This is a real thing?
Yes, I do, dude, because we suffered through it. You must as well.
Your insight would be good. It'll make you long for Morbius, actually.
Evan Soto is part of the Seth Green Doom train.
Is it webbing time?
He says Gemma Chan played a Kree in Captain Marvel and an Eternal in the Eternals, so it's possible for Seth Green to play Doom and Howard the Duck.
We've only ever heard him as Howard the Duck, so it'll be fine. He just has to take the mask off.
Sean Becker says, I feel like the Robert Downey Jr. casting must be so confusing to casual MCU fans, but at this point in the multiverse, maybe it shouldn't be. Let's just rock and roll. I'm excited to see what they do. I'm always excited for these movies. Even Madam Web, sitting down in Madam Web, I'm excited for it. I don't care. I think like Jonathan at 12, who just wishes he had seen movies of this stuff and was scouring bins for the Corman Fantastic Four and scouring bins for Pride of the X-Men and wanted to see these characters.
We did get Dolph Lundgren Punisher, we did get that.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about some of those things that we got back in Deadpool and Wolverine. And again, the spoilers are going to start flying fast and heavy. My biggest holy shit moment of this wasn't when Elektra showed up. We'd all known about that. I didn't know about the Gambit thing, but when fucking Blade strolls out, I yelled, holy shit.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Even Ian did not know about Blade, but Ian, did you let out a holy shit? Because I fucking let out a loud holy shit when Blade strolled out.
About that.
How fucking awesome was that? And he still looks badass. He's still fucking Blade. That was awesome.
Always bet on Wesley Snipes.
And he even said in the big fight, some motherfuckers can't help it. What is it? Ice skating uphill or roller skating uphill? What the hell the line is? I'm not Blade. I don't know the line. I'm not cool.
I am going to pat myself on the back, Jonathan, because you did want me to guess what your moment was. And I'm like, well, for you, it was Blade. And I was right.
Both of you. I asked both of you. I think Ian guessed that the Johnny Storm stuff was mine, and that was a good second. I loved seeing Chris Evans back in a Marvel movie. Chris, come back to us. I love it. Bring back, even if it's Hydra Cap, just come back. Chris, do 10 minutes. It doesn't matter. They'll throw you $2 billion. And then the Blade thing was great. I loved watching I love watching the Brotherhood of Mutants come back together from the Fox movies.
Fun.
I love
Gambit was hysterical.
So great. It's great to see Pyro. It's great to see Juggernaut, even if it's not Vinnie Jones. It's great to see all those characters. I just love them. I love seeing Quill in the background. I don't care.
Emma Corrin's Casandra Nova, because I thought she was fantastic.
Please, Ian, can you explain who Casandra Nova is from the comics? Because we thought we were going to get her in X-Men 97.
So they did this thing called it's Xavier had a twin in the womb, but then they had this whole idea with this Shi'ar, this Moomin Dry, which is like this. It's almost like it's the Dark Phoenix again, right? Like it's this ultra powerful, Shi'ar thing, and it's this entity, this evil entity that is sort of within the baby that was Xavier's twin, and he basically killed her in the womb, but she still managed to keep existing.
Like the Phoenix would if you killed the host.
Yeah, as I said, it's very Phoenix-like. Listen, it was Grant Morrison, It
was.
So,
Sean thinks that Blade was a nice surprise as well. And so was Gambit. I loved that on the week that we all saw the destruction in Genosha in X-Men 97, and everybody's thinking, oh, next week we're going to get, I know it's coming, Grant Morrison, I know it's coming. We're going to get, Xavier's twin in X-Men 97. I know it's coming. And instead you didn't. Yeah. You got it in the Wolverine Deadpool trailer. And I thought that was so smart to have that Wolverine Deadpool trailer release right as fans were wanting Casandra Nova. And you got her in live action. And I thought it was cool. And she's a great villain here. It makes sense that she's part of the Void. It makes sense that she's mad at Xavier. It makes sense that she wants a Wolverine and she wants to punish any former X-Man. I love that Doctor Strange had been killed. I would have liked to see a version of the Punisher show up, and you
wanted Thomas Jane, didn't you?
I wanted Thomas Jane. As much as I don't enjoy that movie, but it would have been fun to see a Thomas Jane.
They said 5 Punishers. Weren't there only 4 Punishers?
Dolph Lundgren, Thomas Jane,
Ray Winstone,
Ray Stevenson, and John Bernthal.
Who we're gonna get? John Bernthal's still gonna be running around here.
He's coming back.
He's coming back in the Daredevil series. So did we not get the Russian though?
No, the Russian's
from the
in
Punisher
there.
movie.
He's in there.
Yeah, the Punisher's the Punisher villain, the Russian, is one of Casandra Nova's bad guys. Because the striped shirt, I was like, okay, there's some Punisher in there. Yeah. But of course, I want some Thomas Jane. As someone who's had Pink's hot dogs at 2 a.m. with Thomas Jane, I wanted some Thomas Jane. It wasn't. No offense, Thomas Jane, but it was not. As being the only person not drinking in that situation, it was a rough convo to be witness to.
Connie's is a better hot dog.
Well,
that wasn't what made it bad. What made it bad was everybody was drunk but Jonathan, and I had to sit there and listen to it.
I might have to put Ian if I had control of this stream, I'd put Ian in timeout for 5 minutes for that hot dog slander. But I do want to get back to Casandra Nova, because I think that this movie doesn't work if the void is presided over by bigger cameo but less significant villain. You needed it to be somebody that is, yes, we hadn't seen her before, and that kind of helped, but it has to be somebody that you believe could do all this shit, somebody that is crazy. And so while when we got the reveal, I'm like, okay, I kind of expected this to be, I don't know who, but somebody from the Fox movies.
Perfect. She was perfect for an X-Men villain that they hadn't done.
It should have been an X-Men villain.
But we didn't need Apocalypse again, did we?
No. No, Oscar Isaac costs too much now. Oscar Isaac.
We don't get Nimrod. We got Nimrod Sentinels in Days of Future Past, but we shouldn't have gotten Nimrod.
But I had to look that actress up because I don't watch The Crown. So she plays Princess Diana. And so I was like, oh, she looks a little different.
I mean, honestly, the only other thing they could have done is just go back to the Dark Phoenix well, which they've already gone to too many times.
Not yet, Marvel. Not yet.
Right.
Dave Baxter says, I actually think casual fans will have the least issue with Robert Downey Jr. as Doom. It's like Vader being Luke's father. Whoa, cool.
Why not? What? Vader's who?
For them, it's just a surprise reveal.
I refuse to believe that.
Yeah. I think casual fans will actually be like, wait, what the who? But unless they do.
You're going to have to give me a full... I need several movies of an origin before I will ever believe that Vader is Luke's father.
Are you in luck? I think I would love for them to massively scar him. As much as I love Robert Downey Jr., I want the massively scarred Doom. I think that's a more vengeful Doom. I think that's one that clearly isn't Tony Stark, who is beautiful and has all the vanity go along with being beautiful.
But what's interesting about that is I think that if they're doing it, they're going to have to do a situation where the Avengers actually see him with the helmet off.
Yes, and it staggers them.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe it's a build up to that, but
the Chris Evans is killing our budget joke was awesome. We all love that.
I like that.
It should be Thomas Jane, but it should be Thomas Jane of The Expanse. Evan Soto says. And then Jason Elliott says it would have been better to see Dolph Lundgren as the Punisher. So I love Dolph. Who I asked to be on Geekscape, and Dolph said, no, this happened within the last year. Geekscape. Sorry to bring you behind the curtain on this, but yes, I did ask for Dolph to do the show.
Who do you want more, Dolph Lundgren or Mark Singer? I'll see what I can do.
Oh,
Mark, here, you want to hear something fucked up?
I think I've heard it before.
Mark Singer was going to do the show. The Beastmaster was going to do the show, but Heidi and I had our baby moon.
Oh,
and I asked for a reschedule, and it hasn't happened. But Mark Singer, the Beastmaster, was going to do Geekscape, and it was going to happen when Heidi and I were on our baby moon. So
we see what your priorities are, Jonathan.
You're lucky you're getting a Deadpool special and a San Diego Comic-Con special on the fucking week my child is born. Right. So Geekscape is... Don't you worry about it. Your kid's
not here yet. You have
plenty of time. So that's why you're getting this episode.
Soak up all the Jonathan London you can right now. For a visual audience, stare at him. You will not see him for a while.
You might. Hey, baby's in the back sleeping. I'm going to do a 20-minute episode. Jason Elliott says, I met Tom Jane when he was under the influence of something. I think you just said I met Thomas Jane. Nova was definitely a better villain than Paradox. That's for sure. Ivan Soto. But we got them both in the same movie, and I thought that was fun. And then Ivan Soto says the Punisher didn't massively scar Jigsaw, so I doubt they'd scar Downey. The Jigsaw scarring in season 2 of Punisher was season 1 of Punisher on Netflix was awesome. And Daniel
Johnson, haven't they done major scarring in the Ray Stevenson version?
Yeah, it was cool. Daniel Johnson, who's a phenomenal comic book artist, I believe, and I'm a fan of Daniel Johnson. He says, not to derail to Robert Downey Jr. again, but casual fans speaking who has no idea where multiverse is or what Doomsday, whatever. Robert Downey Jr. brings me back because it feels like things connect to infinity, and I'm invited back. I think that's great, and I think I love that. I love that. Yeah, I think let's just see what they do. I mean, I was very cynical. I was very much like, ooh, cash grab. Ooh, they're trying to rewrite the ship that had been sinking in some fans' eyes. But I think we look back, and guys, I love She-Hulk, and we loved Moon Knight, and we loved these maybe one-off things. We loved Guardians 3. We loved a lot of this stuff. I got a High Evolutionary, one of my favorite Marvel villains, and we got a high evolutionary that was really cool and really made a lot of sense and had a great origin story. We got some really good stuff in whatever phase we're in. I think we gave up phases. Did we give up phases? Did we give up Marvel phases? Are we phase 17 now?
No, we're still in
phases are still coming. I agree.
And
with Ian. Yeah.
And we got a lot of great stuff. It just didn't feel as concentrated, as focused towards the goal, like a Thanos and an Infinity. I think we're gonna write that again with Doomsday. Maybe we haven't seen the end of Kang. I love Kang as villain. Love him, love him, love him. And it's hard for me to believe that Scott Lang pummeled him into defeat. I don't think that's the right ending for Kang.
No.
Just like I didn't think that was the right ending for Ultron, or even the right Ultron because he's singing show tunes. But the Marvel Universe and nothing is more explains that more than the Deadpool Wolverine is. It's so dynamic, has so many stories in it, so many wells from which you can draw for stories that we might see all this stuff. It's like, I'm looking forward to Eric Bana coming back as the Hulk in Secret War. I mean, all this stuff still counts, is what I'm saying.
You misspoke when you meant to say Lou Ferrigno, by the way.
I love Lou. I love Lou.
I'd love to see Lou as the Hulk.
You can go on Geekscape TV, where you're maybe watching this right now on YouTube, and you can see Lou and I talking about his addiction to Angry Birds and how he was playing it at the carousel of a Miami airport and ended up with the wrong bag and didn't realize until he got back to his hotel, opened it, and it was full of dildos. Was that the wrong bag, Lou? Is it really the wrong bag? I was going to say,
I told a story like that once too, but my wife didn't believe me. To Daniel Johnson's point about Robert Downey Jr. bringing him back, it made me realize what this is. All right. So 8 years in, when Jason Priestley finally leaves 90210, he leaves. And who comes back into town? Luke Perry. So Robert Downey Jr. is our Luke Perry. That's my stance on this.
Ivan Soto said Deadpool and Wolverine holding hands together and saving the multiverse reminded me of Cloak and Dagger season 1, which I also enjoyed. I really liked that first season of Cloak and I like both seasons of Cloak and Dagger. That still counts as far as the Runaways. It also counts to me.
Yeah.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Ian and I agree on this one. It still counts.
The last season's a little funky, but everything before it does.
But damn, we got a really good Crusher Creel casting. A lot of that stuff is still fun. We got Magnetron. It's all works. And then Ivan Soto said Loki closed the Kang storyline relatively well, though. Yeah, if Loki's in charge of a multiverse and can use prune it at will, he's pretty good at stopping. Kang and his machinations. That being said, I still think we can get some Kang. We still get some Ultron. The multiverse is infinite, and it'd be fun to see Doom have to deal with Loki before he actually goes back and manipulates things for Secret War. I think that would be a really great scene. It's just Doom wants to go back and manipulate, recreating the entirety of existence to make him king, but he has to deal with Loki now sitting on the throne of the multiverse like a god. I think seeing Doom, which is why he's still a better character than Kang, and he's the ultimate villain in the MCU, in the Marvel Universe. I think seeing Doom have to deal with a Loki who sits at the center of all of it and has to control it. I think Doom having to deal with that is awesome, and I think he'll have to, because that is canon. Not that we've been respecting canon this entire time, but what a great lead off to Doomsday would that scene be when you see Loki on the throne and Doom has to remove him in order to start effing things up. That'd be a great scene. You want to see that, Ian?
I would.
I'd love to see that. Doom is the best. My favorite villain. What else do we have to say about the Deadpool and the Wolverine? The Deadpool core was great. Nice Pool was fucking hilarious. The thing with the car was amazing. I love this movie.
Awesome.
And I think one of the things I loved the most was the scene between Laura and Logan. It's not her Logan, but he was never that Logan. And it goes back to the things I was reading at Comic-Con last week.
I love the reason that he's wearing the costume so much, because he refused to wear it for so long.
And I thought
that was a great
what about him
reveal.
ending up that. So wait, and now he's Deadpool's roommate?
Well, I like that. I thought that there was going to be a psychic block was the reason he was going to start wearing the helmet. I love that he wore it for emotional reasons, because he was like, Scott always wanted me to wear it. The explanation for the X-Men being killed, I think, should have had a Sentinel in there somewhere. Like the humans came for them. I'm like, but the humans didn't come with pitchforks. Humans came with fucking Nimrod Sentinels or something that would have taken out the X-Men. They weren't there with pitchforks, folks. But I love that scene with Laura where he has the character turn and she says, "Hey, you were never the right guy. You were never the right guy." And I thought including her was what destroys all the arguments you see from the writers who say that this didn't have a weight or a heart.
Can we talk about I love that she's still around?
Love it. Love it. Maybe not in The Acolyte, but for sure.
That's the actress, not the character.
I know,
Jonathan.
I know. But man,
further
seeing
down
her
the
go,
multiverse.
I know. I love that actress.
And a long time ago, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Even longer ago, in a galaxy further away.
Evan Soto says the fourth wall break about the proposal was hilarious. Deadpool telling Wolverine in the car, "I'm going to fight you now," is awesome. I love the car fight. The car fight's amazing.
We were able to get our photos taken at that car at Comic-Con, by the way, through the windshield. I don't know if you guys took a chance to do that, but I'll share some photos of me in that car in an upcoming episode of Marvel Movie Talk.
And Ivan Soto asks, and Ian, you can answer this: are they not doing Battle World anymore? Then I don't know how much about it, but I know Doom has something to do with that. I think Secret War is Battle World. Those are Battle Worlds. And one thing that slipped off the radar that I know they shot was Ironheart. Where is it? Where's Ironheart zooming around?
They were supposedly in production on it, but I guess maybe not. It was supposed to be close.
I don't believe they ever went to production on that.
Before we move on from Battle World, sorry, I just want to ask both of you guys: will we see Mullet Beyonder in the Secret Wars? Because that's what I want more than anything. In the white suit, Tommy Wiseau would be the perfect actor to play him. I'm going to say it now. Glad I made you both laugh at the same time. Logan, you're tearing me apart!
You're tearing me apart. Who would play? I mean, first off, they're not going to do the Beyonder. They're not going to do Tom Jones, like fucking looking Beyonder anymore than they're going to do Mullet Longshot.
The right actor to play the Beyonder is Chris Evans.
Yeah, I would want that Beyonder. I told you guys when I interviewed Chris Evans and Chris Helmsworth, and they came in the room and were being so jocular and charismatic, and they started joking with me, and I just was like, "You don't have to do that. You don't have to talk to me." They just made me, as if I don't doubt my metabolism and DNA on a daily basis. Those guys made me feel like they felt like, oh my God, they were so awesome and cool and charismatic and beautiful that I was like, oh yeah, I don't share DNA with those people. I'm not even human next to those people. They're awesome. And they're really cool guys. So I thought they were wonderful for the brief time that I had with them. I thought they were so cool. And I aspire to go back to that moment. So them as a Beyonder, I'm down with either of those dudes as a Beyonder. I'm big fans. Guys, we haven't talked about Dogpool.
I love Dogpool so much.
Dogpool was great. I loved Dogpool.
And Blake Lively as Lady Deadpool and that whole Deadpool sequence, the big oneer that was going on.
Baby pool and kid pool and head pool.
It was fun. Guys, this movie was one of my favorite MCU movies. Period.
It's fun. It's so much fun.
And it's weird seeing some of the cynicism that's being aimed at it.
Well, it's the world.
I mean,
we're about to get 90. We're about to get 90 memes. What's that?
I'm bored at the idea of cynicism into this.
Yeah,
movie.
no, I agree.
Haters gonna hate.
In knowing that the next thing we're gonna get is a Winter Soldier style, real world ish Cap 4.
I actually think it looks really cool.
It looks great.
I agree. It looks great.
Yeah. Sidewinder is in it. We got some cool like Serpent Society villains. It's gonna be awesome. Seeing the Red Hulk, it looks super cool.
I'm a little surprised that they've claimed that Thunderbolts has nothing to do with Red Hulk and Thunderbolt Ross.
Oh,
I would have thought, why not make that connection?
Who claimed that?
Yeah, supposedly they said that.
Whoever said Robert Downey Jr. is not going to be Dr. Doom is
exactly.
Who said that.
And you saw David Harbour's entrance to Hall H, correct? You saw David Harbour come into Hall H.
We shared that this morning on Marvel Movie Talk. It was fantastic.
Guys, my optimism is here, and you know what? I think ultimately when you look back at it and people are like, oh, did Deadpool and Wolverine save the MCU? For me, again, I'm just that kid who wishes to see all these characters on screen in some form, cartoon, animated, or live action with actors. I'm down with all that stuff. And so the MC didn't slip too much for me. It's all stuff that I was able to enjoy in some form or another, even if it was Madam Web. Ian, I still enjoyed some of it. I still loved going and seeing some form of a movie that could have worked.
I need to watch that. I still need to watch New Mutants too.
New Mutants was one that I went to the drive-in during the pandemic because they were showing at the Rose Bowl, and I had a blast with New Mutants. And I wish that they kept the John Hamm and Sinister tag on the end. I actually had a blast because the fucking Lockheed shows up.
Yes,
like holy shit! It's 5 years old, Ian.
I don't care. I just told you I didn't see it.
Ian,
I just told you.
You have to go see these movies.
Christian, you were there, right? Did I not just say I didn't see it?
I can neither confirm
as someone
nor
who
deny what I just heard.
We had to convince you to see these movies. What's kept you from seeing a 4-year-old movie anyway?
Because I forget about it because it's only been on Netflix. Here's the thing.
Oh, we're easily accessible.
If you had said that on your own and I hadn't said I didn't see it, then that's perfectly fine. It's 5 years old.
I aimed at you. I aimed right at you. The same way you aim those 20 minutes worth of memes at us.
You know how many more memes you just deserve? You're going to get for that?
Wait a minute.
Christian, I'm sorry.
We're on that text thread. Thanks, Jonathan.
Christian, I'm sorry.
Text you again.
Ian, I think that you're going to find New Mutants to be enjoyable, regardless of what the critics said.
I won't spoil
I honestly forget about it.
I won't spoil anything about it. What I'll say,
I forgot about it too. But
I tried to go and then it wasn't playing. I was looking for the drive-thrus during COVID.
It's on Netflix. Just watch it. Wait, why is it on Netflix and not Disney Plus? It's a Fox movie.
The Fox deal. No. There's some movies that are from the older deal before Disney bought them, and they leave one streaming, go on the other. The thing I'll say about New Mutants is that I also saw it at the drive-in. I was very excited to have a movie to see, but it felt like the pilot episode for a New Mutants TV series that as you watch it, you're never going to get. I think the casting was really good, except
did it feel like Generation X?
The 90s movie?
It's way better than Generation
Way
X.
better than that. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just asking.
Yeah. No,
go ahead.
Cannonball is very poorly cast, but everybody else is literally great. I love all the other characters in the movie.
Ian, you're gonna like this.
Queen's Gambit is magic. So
and the Lockheed cast is really
Gambit.
good.
You dick.
What's really good?
It's a stuffed animal.
He said his thing again. When you're in the middle of the movie, you'll be like, all right, I'm not as mad at
People are like, wait, you said Deadpool Wolverine spoilers, not that movie I never saw.
New Mutants.
Not New Mutants, spoilers, you son of a bitch.
People watch it's going like, wait, what's New Mutants?
Yeah.
You were up until 10 minutes ago. All right, Geekscape. That's the Deadpool Wolverine special. I hope you thought it was special. Thanks for being in the chat. This chat was hopping today. You guys had your opinions. Anything in closing, Ian? Christian?
I want to see that Deadpool Wolverine again. I love that.
I do too.
I think we will see them again, considering the amount of money that it made. But also, my thinking is that. Oh, I know what I want to say. You were talking about this being sort of a love letter to Fox. I thought it was very touching and very sweet. The mid credits where they played "Time of Your Life" by Green Day, and they had all this behind the scenes stuff from the Fox universe. Some that were not featured in this. Kate Mara from the Fan-Fourtastic, and just some of the stuff was really surprising. But I thought it was nice to kind of see some of that. And,
we saw Michael B. Jordan. Yeah, we saw some of those.
It was great. Yeah.
Geekscape. I hope you enjoyed this episode. We got the Comic-Con special coming up in the feed. You know where to find us, like on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the podcast places. Share this with your friends. We'll be here. Subscribe to this YouTube/Geekscape.
Well, and let me say, if you subscribe to this YouTube channel and you want more Deadpool talk, boy, are you going to get more. We'll be doing shows on Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. Pacific, and then another one on Thursday with a completely different panel at 10 a.m. Pacific. So I'm going to probably talk to 9 different people about Deadpool over the next couple of weeks. So make sure to look for Marvel Movie Talk over there.
Yeah. And Jason says, Ian, your knowledge is unparalleled, and I'm glad to see you get a platform to show it. Unless we're talking about New Mutants from Madam Web, movies that you refuse to see.
Yeah.
And Ivan says, "I'm glad this movie wasn't about killing the Fox universe, like
That's
everyone
fair.
thought."
Yeah.
Shame.
I mean, it kind of was, but they saved a little piece of it.
They saved it. They saved a corner.
This movie was about legacy.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm sorry. The joke to Jennifer Garner about I'm sorry about Daredevil, and she goes, "It's all right. I'm okay." Yeah, I was like, "That's beautiful." I
And
love
when Blade says he's going to be,
I laughed. I laughed hysterically.
When Blade
Or
like,
FJ next to me.
All there ever will be. All there ever will be. I'm like,
I was so loud laughing in this movie. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it again.
Yet.
I'm going to go see it in IMAX.
I would love to see it again. I'm going to see how Heidi's feeling and maybe we'll go see it again. All right, folks. We'll talk to you later. Go enjoy New Mutants on Netflix. Bye. We'll be back very soon.